Good afternoon. Welcome to everybody here in Brussels and in Naples, where I can already see Colonel Roland Lavoie, the military spokesman for Operation Unified Protector. Welcome to everybody in Naples and welcome to those who are following us on the internet. This morning, the North Atlantic Council met with our operational partners to review events in Libya since their last meeting 2 weeks ago. The situation is moving fast and is moving into the right direction. The political and military structures of the Gaddafi regime have crumbled, while the National Transitional Council has asserted control in key cities, including Tripoli. We're encouraged by statements made by the head of the NTC, Mustafa Abdel Jalil, who spoke of forgiveness, reconciliation, and unity, and he clearly rejected extremism and vengeance. The NTC is gaining growing international recognition, including by all 5 permanent members of the United Nations Security Council. And this time next week, there will be a meeting of the Friends of Libya group on the margins of the United Nations General Assembly in New York, and the Secretary General will, of course, attend that meeting. So Libya has gone a long way, and NATO has gone a long way in protecting the people of Libya. But our mission is not yet complete. 6 months ago, when NATO, together with our partners, started enforcing the mandate of the United Nations Security Council, Benghazi was under threat, Misrata was under siege, and civilians were attacked and threatened every day by Gaddafi regime forces. We have enforced the UN mandate to protect civilians effectively. We have saved countless lives, and by protecting Libyan civilians, we've helped them to gradually resume a normal life across Libya and to take the future into their own hands. But in some parts of the country, the situation remains fluid. As the Secretary General has clearly stated, we are determined to continue the mission for as long as necessary, but not a day longer than necessary. Our clear intention is to terminate the mission as soon as the situation allows. NATO's number one concern has been the protection of civilians from the very beginning of Operation Unified Protector, and it will be the same when the time comes to end our mission. I can't tell you when that time will be. We all hope it's going to be soon. Now, over to Roland for the operational update from Naples. Roland.
Thank you, Oana, and welcome to all those joining us today. The areas of confrontations between Gaddafi and NTC forces on the ground have not changed drastically over the last few days. This is essentially due to the deliberate and very commendable efforts of the NTC to try to resolve the situation through dialogue. Despite the NTC offer to seek a peaceful solution, as this week progressed, it became quite clear that remaining Gaddafi forces were not willing to negotiate and lose their grip on the cities they still control. By occupying and tightly suppressing cities such as Bani Walid and Sirte, Gaddafi forces have, in a way, taken the population hostage, exposing people to obvious risks, repressing the uprising, and preventing some citizens from leaving. Furthermore, in doing so, Gaddafi forces have clearly demonstrated their intent to consolidate their positions and threaten the civilian population in the triangle formed by Bani Walid, Sirte, and Sheba. Gaddafi repeated his call, inciting his followers to pursue a senseless fight. They even directed deadly attacks on the Ras Lanouf refinery yesterday, which has just resumed operations vital to getting Libya back on its feet. As of this morning, the situation in the vicinity of Sirte and Bani Walid was assessed as very volatile. For the moment, skirmishes occur in both cities but are concentrated in their outskirts, so the population is not under imminent threat. However, the situation may change very rapidly, as we have seen in other towns. NATO intelligence indicate that Gaddafi forces have been firing rockets from the inner city of Bani Walid in close proximity to houses and also to mosques. NATO is closely monitoring the situation, of course, and will continue to do so as long as necessary. Although I must stress that NATO does not and will not engage in close support air operation for the NTC forces, as our focus remains the protection of the civilian population. Elsewhere in the country, with the breakdown of negotiations, NTC forces are pursuing their advances, chasing Gaddafi forces from the village of Abu Karian near the coast and in Zila near the Al Jufra oasis. Initial information shows that even Sheba, although still disputed, is not a safe haven for Gaddafi forces anymore. The main advances in Libya are not in the military domain, but rather in the civilian sector, where we observed that the rebuilding of Libya is definitely underway. This is observed through the resuming ground transportation movements, shipping, humanitarian assistance flights are now routine, and many cities now have normal access to water, electricity, and other basic services. As in many other countries around the world, schools are planning to reopen their doors soon in several regions, and several industries and refineries are being prepared to resume their activities, which will jumpstart the economic recovery of Libya. Taken individually, these milestones may not appear significant, but really their cumulative effect is clear and is clearly paving the way to a recovery of Libya. The majority of NATO activities over the past week has been concentrated in the area defined by Sirte, Wadam, and Bani Walid. We have continued to use our surveillance assets to monitor the situation very closely and maintain tempo, particularly through strike missions to protect the Libyan people. NATO successfully engaged a number of threats to civilians in Libya, including several tanks, rocket launchers, an ammunition storage facility, as well as several surface-to-air threats. NATO aircraft also conducted a number of strikes deep into the Sahara Desert, 400 kilometers south of Tripoli. These were aimed at disrupting a command and control facility, a vehicle staging area, and destroying several armored vehicles in order to inhibit the reinforcements of positions in the north. Now, having given you a feel of what is happening on the ground for a moment, I would like to take a moment to remind you why we engage in this operation in the first place. Operation Unified Protector was initiated to enforce a UN Security Resolution like 1970 and then 1973, following the gross and systematic violation of human rights by the Gaddafi regime in Libya. The resolutions specifically referred to the repression of peaceful demonstrators, arbitrary detentions, enforced disappearances, torture, and summary executions. Over the last 6 months, NATO forces have maintained a consistent tempo of operations, intervening whenever and wherever Gaddafi forces pose a threat to civilians, be that in Benghazi in the east, Misrata in the west, Sheba in the south, or many other towns, cities, and villages right across Libya. Today, the recovery of Libya is now quite obvious, and the outcome is no longer in doubt. But let me reassure you, we will continue to play our part to the full until the task is complete. This concludes my update. Oana.